If you're struggling to unlock everything in LEGO Fortnite Odyssey, this video's for you. So I want to start off with the very easy ones, or at least they're easy to explain, and that's going to be inside of our Storm Chaser's village. Now at level 3, you unlock the Storm Chaser vehicle, which is a ground vehicle that you can drive around. And at level 10 is where you're going to unlock Lil Bard, which is going to be a boat that you guys can put into the water and easily get to any of the islands that have the storm there. And trust me, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. Why would I go ahead and use a boat on this map or even one of the land vehicles when I could simply use rift stations? Well, a lot of you guys seem to be struggling with finding rift stations, so let me show you guys a pattern that my guy Opsman found. In our brand new expert mode world that's streamed every night here on YouTube, my guy Opsman went out and tried to find as many rift stations as he could. When we first started this, it didn't seem like the old patterns were working as far as looking in the eyes of a grid, but what it looks to be is that you can actually find these rift stations simply by going in straight lines. Once you find one rift station, you want to go into a straight line until you find another one, and then once you find that one, you want to again go into a straight line until you find another one. And you're probably wondering why I'm even bringing up finding these rift stations, and that's because we have a new item called a legendary forge, which is going to require rift crystals, iron bars, cut ruby, but more importantly, those rift shards. So that does mean you do need to go out, find those rift stations using that trick. That way you can get down this legendary forge because it's very important to put on your weapons and tools. So now let's talk about the gem cutter, because we already know one ingredient needed for the legendary forge, and we're going to need the gem cutter in order to make cut ruby, which helps us with the legendary forge, but also in making the best weapons. Now when it comes to the gem cutter, we do need 3 brute scales, which a lot of people are struggling with right now because creatures and enemies have gotten much harder depending on how far you are in the game. When it comes to finding yourself brutes consistently, I recommend going to Star Wars Island and following this map on screen. This map will show you different spawn locations specifically for brutes. One inside of the snow biome, one in the dry valley, and then one that's inside of the grasslands or closer to the beach. You could sit there and run out of the render distance and keep going back and forth to make them spawn. That way you can get 3 brute scales extremely easily. Now when it comes to rift crystals, that's another item you're going to need. So head to the center of the storm, and that's going to have a rift for you to go into. Inside of here, you're actually going to find yourself in a dungeon that will have the newer enemies in it. The nice thing is you don't have a storm timer down here, so you could just run through here, either defeating the enemies or doing whatever the objective says. The first objective is just to destroy the storm crystals, so as long as you have 3 of them, once you've defeated all 3 storm crystals or simply shot them out of the air, you're going to have a chest that unlocks and gives you potential rift crystals, which is a very easy way to find more of them. Now the other way to get rift crystals is probably easier, but it's also a limited time thing, meaning you could only do this once. There's going to be rift crystals inside of Raven's Tower. Now if you have the legendary pickaxe, you could simply break these, but if you don't have that pickaxe, you could actually just break the floor underneath of them. Raven's Tower has over 24 different rift crystals inside of there, which means you could just walk through the house breaking the floor and unlocking all of these. It makes it so much easier, but again, these never respawn. They're just going to be permanently broken now, but at least you do get the rift crystals out of it. Now that's going to give you the legendary forge, and the legendary forge is the new best weapon or best item that you can have in the game in order to give you the best weapons and tools. You're going to use rift crystals to actually upgrade your weapons, and you're going to make them into rifted weapons. Now the cool thing about this is it does give you a layer of durability that's not affected. So what I mean by that is when you have an item, if you put the rifted on there, it will no longer have durability until it charges all the way up into being a legendary weapon. And we also have a brand new material that released, and that's actually going to be the Shatter Horn material that you can get yourself from the Storm King. But you do need to defeat the Storm King in order to get this each and every day. Now when you take a look at the crossbow, you can see that it has all of the same effects as any of the other cut gems. The difference here is that you get zapping tier 4, and the only way that you can get zapping tier 4 is if you have a Shatterhorn limb. Now the reason why we use this is because it can do damage to 4 enemies at the exact same time. So if you're doing an attack or using a crossbow on one enemy, using the zapping will actually hit 4 of them immediately afterwards using that electric attack, which makes it extremely easy to clear out more waves. So while we already just talked about zapping recapping tier 4, let's talk about other runes and how we got them. So for the Lost Isles runes, what you need to do is go to the Lost Isles island and then jump on top of the floating islands. On top of most of these, you're going to find a large gold chest, and in every single one of these gold chests is going to be a Klombo rune tome book. Once you open up this book, it'll unlock any of the runes that you don't have specifically for this area. Now, for all the other runes that you need to get, you're actually going to need to clear out dungeons. All that you need to do is clear them out, just like we spoke about earlier, to get some of the rift crystals. And when you open up the gold chest inside of here, sometimes you'll get yourself another rune book. Now, in this case, I didn't get myself one, which is unfortunate, but you guys can continue to descend down the dungeon and continue to find even more of them. Now, the final two unlocks is the Cyclone Pickaxe and the Thunderclap Blade, which are the two new mythics that came with the most recent update. Now, you get these after killing the Storm King once every 24 hours, and you only get one of them every 24 hours. The other thing about these is that you are able to kill the Storm King 2 times in a row and get the exact same weapon, so you're not guaranteed to always get the one that you haven't unlocked just yet. Now, the Thunderclap Blade is actually going to be a really fun sword to use because it has a charge up attack that sends out a damage wave, and you could also just use it as a regular sword. Now, when you use it as a regular sword, it does 15 regular damage and over 20 critical damage. As far as using the new power wave that it does, you're actually going to do 19 damage. So I don't recommend using that wave on just one enemy, but if you're going to use it on multiple, it's really good at clearing out waves. Now, the Cyclone Pickaxe is awesome because you can throw this and still collect it when it's charged and immediately throw it again at that tier 3 charge. On top of that, it does both forward and backwards damage, meaning if you throw it directly at an enemy, it will hit them and then also hit them on the way back. Now, not only do these do damage to enemies from a range, which is actually really solid to have, but it also is very good at farming. When it comes to the sword, you guys can break trees with this, and when it comes to the pickaxe, you could break rocks from a distance and it'll auto collect for you. I hope that this video helps every single one of you when it comes to unlocking all of the new material that came with the brand new Odyssey update. Let me know what else I can release for you guys to help you out, whether that's help with the new rune system, the new essence system, the new progression system, or anything else that was new that released in the game. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, guys, this was Crafty, and I'm out. Peace. But YouTube thinks that you're gonna like that video that's up there in the top left, and you may also want to hit that subscribe button in the top right. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.